Welcome to The Roofer Show with your host, Dave Sullivan. You found the podcast that helps roofing contractors grow their businesses, make more money, and have more free time.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Roofer Show podcast, the place to be if you want to grow a more profitable roofing business. I'm your host, Dave Sullivan, the roofer coach. And along with me is John DeLaurier of Peach Roofing in Savannah, Georgia. What's going on, John?
What's up, Dave?
It's all good, man. Hey, we've been talking about it's coming into the third quarter. Half the year has been wrapped up here. So it's time to do a little review. Halftime, we always like to bring everybody in, do a little huddle, and make sure that we've got our game plan down for coming into the second part of the year. We're going to review our first half as we would just like a football game. What happened? What went right? What went wrong? Now the plan may change a little bit. So what is it that we need to do? What tweaks do we need to make? And what we've been talking about is just looking at our process. And this show is called It's All About the Process. And it really is. And this is what we talk about, the three-legged stool, where you've got to sell work, you've got to do work, and you've got to keep score. Business really is that simple, but we have to keep that stool in balance. We have to keep it strong. And that's the difficult part. That's not so easy. We may have a ton of sales, but we don't have the guys to do it. Or we're lacking sales and we got all these guys sitting on the bench ready to go, but no work. We've got cash flow problems. Can't get the bills out. The scorekeepers just aren't bringing in the cash. They're not collecting the money. We're running into cash flow. We can't pay our bills and we got problems there. So this is what we talk about of keeping everything in balance, really checking it out, taking a holistic approach to our business. So let's just jump into it. We got a lot to cover here. So we ready to go, John? I'm just going to roll with this because I want to know what you're doing because I know you've made some tweaks constantly and we go back quite a few years and the changes that you've made are pretty amazing. And you've got a great business that you pretty much run by yourself. You got outsourcers, you got employees, but it's a pretty lean operation. And I think this is the model that a lot of people should be following. We ready to go?
Let's get it.
All right. So let's talk about nothing happens until somebody sells something. And we can't sell anything until we got a lead. So real quick, because, I don't want to get into lead generation and that whole deal, but I do want to talk about Roof Quote Pro because we've had them on the show a number of times, and this is an awesome program by Roofle. And I just have some questions that I haven't talked to you about recently, but that is a great lead magnet. And I want to see what you're doing as far as bringing people in because we're going to get leads. And then I want to go through the process. We got a lead. What are we going to do now? And what process is, you hear about people talking about processes all the time. It's basically a checklist, and it's a checklist of what we do every time. And it's all about consistency. When you get on that plane to go across the country, those pilots that have flown that plane 1,000 times, well, they're going through a checklist. They're going through a process to make sure everything is working and in order. So that's what we're going to do. So let's just jump in. Tell me what's happening with Roof Quote Pro, because we've got a lot of our coaching clients and mastermind group people that are using it successfully to bring in some business and pre-qualify. Just do a quick about that and then we'll get into the deal.
All right. So let's go back up to defining what an inquiry is versus a lead. So this is part of that process. Roof Quote Pro is one of those tools. There are other measurement tools out there. They're great. If you're a roofing contractor and you're not actually investing in driving like real people to your website or to a landing page with your instant roof estimator, your Roof Quote Pro, then it's not worth doing. You need to actually have that plan in place and actually be implementing that plan all the time, constantly driving traffic to that tool. Because nothing that I'm about to say even matters if you don't really aggressively do that. If you want to provide value, be transparent, and give the customer what they want by using one of these tools, and you have a plan, you understand what to do, then listen on. But otherwise, it's just not.
And that's the number one search. I mean, people are looking, they go into Google, what does my roof cost? Well, this is what we're talking about. We're going to answer those questions, being transparent. And if you're not using this, I mean, you're really in the Stone Age. So sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I mean, there's a lot of views on it. There's conflicting views on this, but in general, customers want to know roughly what their roof's going to cost. And we can get into the arguments of, is it high? Is it too low? Whatever it is. Let's don't worry about that right now. But I just pulled up my dashboard in Roof Quote Pro. So you have major leads, which is the roof RQP leads, which is the main dashboard.
Let me take a look at that.
It's going to be hard to see through here.
Okay.
But you've got 3 different lead sources in the dashboard. You get the main leads, and that's somebody who's visited your landing page or your website, used the tool, and gave all their information: name, address, email, phone number, and you have everything in there. And they may or may not have selected one of the 3 things, or the 5 things, or the 7 things that you offer as far as roofing products. You at least have somebody in your pipeline at that point. So, side note, once this happens, your CRM needs to be connected. There needs to be a webhook or some sort of API key where when something goes into Roof Quote Pro, it goes directly into your CRM. ProLine does that. So we know exactly where it came from automatically, and it goes in right into the CRM right away. So that's important, because if it's 9:45 at night, they're not only going in ProLine, they're getting an automated text and an email directly from our inside sales rep, which is Kathleen. So they're getting response from us right away. And that's the response is, yeah, it's a speed to lead process. Thanks for using our tool. Here's a link to schedule an inspection if you want. That's essentially what it says. So that's the main leads. Then you have other contacts, and other contacts can be a number of things. They can be incorrect information, but just the address, or they can be the wrong phone number. There's a lot of reasons why this would be wrong. It could be spam, but there are actually real leads that come through here for whatever reason. You have another way to capture these individuals. Third, you've got address only, where somebody has put their address in here, but they didn't feel comfortable putting their information in there. And that's totally fine. We had one today. Actually, I'm looking at it right now for the first time. And yeah, one today from Atlanta, no information other than they clicked on this, they're interested, and we have an opportunity to send automated postcards to that address if they're in our market. So these are all 3 different ways where you can use this tool to reach out to these prospects. They're inquiries right now. They turn into leads. Are we going to be able to pre-qualify them and schedule an inspection? That's our speed to lead process, our intake using that tool. Is that pretty clear, Dave?
I love it. And you also have an awesome website, which is part of the requirement, because we're trying to get people to come to our website. That's our marketing plan. If we can get them to our website, and we can get them, because people are searching for things on the internet. So if we can get them to come to our website and we can educate them, hopefully we're providing through blogs and through information on our site where they can get the answers that they're looking for. And the key to getting people deeper and deeper into your website, the longer they stay on your website, statistically, the more likely they are to buy from you. And you're building that trust all along. So we've got to have a good website. So that's one of our sources of attracting leads. So whether they fill that out or they call, these are our 2 ways that they're going to get in touch with you, right? They're going to fill out the form somewhere, or they're going to call. So you have used Ruby, and this is the thing, you've got to answer the damn phone. Okay.
You do.
And
you do.
Period. Because if you're not answering your phone and you're rolling over into voicemail, you're losing money. I mean, you paid a lot of money to get people to come to your website, right?
Yep.
So
you look more professional. You just
totally,
look more professional. It's everything is what you're giving the customer what they want, which they want somebody to answer the phone.
That's right. and you're teeing up that sale, you're leaving a great first impression. So whether that's your, somebody's answering the phone, if you got somebody, in the office, but the problem that I see with those, and so many of our clients, they've got a person in the office, they're answering the phones, they're writing up proposals, they're doing the bookkeeping work. And if you're doing bookkeeping and answering the phone, you're coming back and forth, mistakes are going to be made. And this is not something you want to happen. So this is why we like to outsource this. And we've, have a lot of clients that are using Ruby receptionists. You used them for years, and these guys are great. They're also one of the sponsors of our show. And they're a sponsor of our show because we have vetted them and we love them. And we got a lot of our clients that are using them. So just let me give them a little plug here at get.ruby.com/theroofercoach. And you'll get I think it's $150 off your first month service, get some other perks and so forth. Tell them we sent you there. But these guys are great, and they answer the phone and they take down the information. They have a script that we provide, and they can ask questions and begin the pre-qualification process, because we don't want to be everything to everybody. We want to focus in on who those ideal customers are. So that's one way to do it. Now, John, you've got an inside person that we want to talk about, because this is SMA that you use, and really part of your entire process. So we got a call that comes in, they either fill out a form or we've got the phone answered. Let's walk through your process. What happens in your business now? And I assume happens every time.
Yeah. So again, like you said, I started using Ruby a long time ago. Ruby is amazing. Because of your show, they are a sponsor of the show, I've used Ruby for years and years and years, and they are amazing. What I wanted as I grew is a little bit more. So what SMA does is they are a dedicated team member. Kathleen is a part of our team. You need to understand exactly your needs for your business. You need to understand, yes, we want to answer the phone with somebody who really understands on an intimate level of what you offer, what you don't offer, the most common questions. And SMA does that really well. We have pre-qualification questions that we have that she asks every single time. Once that's pre-qualified, with changing from an inquiry to a lead, then there's a number of tasks that Kathleen does to really help our salespeople. And so she's really more like an inside salesperson that understands our business in a more intimate way and can really support everyone on the team, because she's such a great team member for us. She's scheduling appointments.
She's virtual. She's a
virtual assistant, just like, I've done the in-house person too, and that's a great option as well. The labor burden is just much higher. So the cost is kind of that middle of the ground. It's got that Goldilocks, is like you've got somebody who's really dedicated, but it's much more affordable for you, that provides an amazing service for not only the team, but our customers love Kathleen. So it's really, really important to work with an organization. There's smasupport.us is how you get a hold of them, and they will walk you through the process of onboarding people and see who is a good fit for your roofing business, because they're really, really good about pairing the right people with your company.
And what they do also is they find the person and they train them. There's onboarding that's really extensive. And this is where so many contractors, they're not good at hiring people. They're not good at really managing people. And this is what SMA does, which is what I love, because that's just so much time and effort involved with that, and to manage these people. So they've got a lot of benefits. So sorry, go on.
No, it's great. SMA is awesome. I mean, I would highly recommend using them. We're probably going to add another team member from SMA to our organization in the next year. And a lot of people that we work with have 2, 3, 4 people that work with SMA for different roles in their roofing business. So can't recommend SMA enough.
I like it. And you don't get calls from them and say, hey, I got a flat tire. I got to take my dog into the vet.
Yeah, there's no, I got to
All
go
of
wait
those
for
things.
I got to go wait for my kid at the bus stop for every single afternoon. And I got sick and I got to go, all the things that in-house receptionists really, really struggle with a lot of times. There's just not that. One thing to note, Kathleen has a backup. Her manager, Alan, is actually well trained in her process. All the scripts are there. The organization is there. And so if Kathleen does get sick or goes on vacation or whatever the case may be, there's always a person at SMA to help make sure that somebody's always answering the phone, and they're jumping right into Proline's username. So it's all seamless. The customers are being taken care of and our team is not confused. So I cannot recommend them enough. It's a really, really awesome process.
And we've got this written down that's clear. We've got our standard operating procedures, our SOPs, our manuals. So we have the process down, and that's what's so important. It's not just up here in your head. We've got this down. So if we need to bring in an additional person, another person, or discuss this tweaking that we're talking about, we can just jump right into that SOP.
Absolutely.
So we've got a lead. Somebody's interested in our service. What happens now? It's going into Proline. What's the procedure and what's the process?
So depending on where they came from, the homeowner's pre-qualified. We know that they're interested in roofing services in the next 30 to 45 days. The measurements have been ordered. We use Eagle View. We use GAF Quick Measure. We're going to make sure we have the measurements already done.
And Kathleen does that for you.
Kathleen does all of that. And she's already started the Proline proposal as well. So this
is before the salesman even gets involved. The person that's going to go out there, this is done for them. So they're going out there, they're armed with information that they need, right?
Correct. So we're just empowering the outside salesperson to do the job they want to do, which is to, meet the homeowner and then establish rapport, help them know, like, and trust them. And then all the paperwork part of things is done behind the scenes. Kathleen has done all that. There's obviously knowledge that has to be, carried out throughout the whole process of if there are details that need to be addressed in the proposal. But at the end of the day, it is the outside salesperson's responsibility. But a lot of the menial tasks that are done way more efficiently as we're sitting behind a desk in an office, as a salesperson's driving to a home, that's all done. And so there's not a lot of outside work or just sitting in the truck or sitting, whatever those tasks that most salespeople don't love to do. Kathleen's handling that before they even meet the homeowner for the first time.
Love it. Okay. So I assume the lead is issued. Also, I want to say we've got a calendaring system, right? So we can book your prospects can book directly off your website, right?
Yeah, we have changed that over the years. Now we just have a form again because we want to help with any obstacles. We're seeing a downturn in lead numbers, and we think that there's a possibility that using the calendar system is slowing people down. Now it's just a simple form, and people fill it out, and then that's how the process actually gets started on the website. But it's getting assigned to the correct, it's location based. So they're going to get assigned to either Savannah or the Athens market.
Okay. So now a lead's been created. You've got two sales guys that are in your two areas. How do they get notified? What do they do at this point? Kathleen's put together the Eagle View.
The appointment has been scheduled. The appointment has been scheduled at that point. So it's on there. It gets connected to Google Calendar. And we always love Google Calendar the most. It's just easy to maintain. And so the salespeople know what their days are like. They know what their schedule's like. And we have really good parameters of having certain buffers on either side of the appointment times. Kathleen understands locations and how drive time. So if we need to move things around, she's able to help. Hey, we need to move this forward 15 minutes, 30 minutes back, whatever it is. So the scheduling part is really, really essential because that's another impression. We have a good first impression, but we also want to make sure that we're showing up on time. We're not showing up late. And then if we are showing up late, we have ample communication, overwhelming communication. Hey, there's traffic, whatever the case may be, that we're letting the customer know. And we're not just, I mean, they're probably taking time out of their day to meet with you. So respecting other people's time is really, really important for us.
This is part of the customer experience that we talk about, our 5-star customer experience. And this is different than providing service. You know, everybody says, oh yeah, we got great service. Service is different than experience. And this is where we have to provide a great customer experience. You can see this in the reviews, Google reviews. They did a great job. They communicated, they showed up on time. All of these things are part of the experience. And from the get-go, we are setting up, we're teeing up getting that 5-star review. And we can only do that if we provide a 5-star experience. And that's what we're talking about. We're showing up on time. They know we're coming. They know who we are. We're not saying, oh yeah, we'll come out here sometime this afternoon. You know, show up. They don't know what's going on. You know, it's worse than the cable company. Guys that do that. So this is pretty dialed in. And all of this is important. It's not complicated. It's just part of the process.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is a difficult time in roofing for residential roofing right now. I mean, I don't know about commercial, but residential, it's insanely competitive. We're bidding on a pretty large job right now, and some competitors of ours are messaging that we're friendly. So that these customers just bought, you know, a marshfront $1.8 million house, and they're getting the whole gamut of types of roofing contractors. They're getting like the chuck in a truck all the way up to the highest level of professionalism. So it is really, really hard to show value to homeowners in this time, because this is, you know, you would think that a homeowner who spent that much money on their home is going to pick the best possible. There's going to be 2 or 3 options they're going to pick from. No, that's not what's happening right now. They're choosing, in many, many cases, they're choosing the lowest bidder because it's an incredibly competitive time in the roofing space. So yeah, all these things really matter, and you have to do all of them to show your value and show why your homeowner should be choosing you for that roofing job.
There's always been low ballers. There always will be. And, you know, and we can bitch about it all we want. Not that you're bitching, but hey, it's tough. So we're not going to get those clients. Okay. But when prospects are on the fence, perhaps this is what's going to sway them over. And it's not that much more difficult to provide this great experience. And that's what we're talking about here, and making sure that we check all the boxes. So we've got our appointment set. So let's say Cameron is going to go out and do what? He's got the appointment scheduled. He's going to go show up at the house. What's going to happen?
The appointment's scheduled. He's going to start communicating right away. You know, this is not going to be he shows up. This is going to be, we have an appointment today. We have an appointment in 30 minutes. We have an appointment in an hour. It depends on his schedule, but he's going to give them a warning through ProLine, and Kathleen's going to do the same thing. We're going to overly communicate in most people's minds. Hey, just letting you know, Kathleen does this all the time, where Kathleen's checking Cameron's daily schedule, and she's watching the company cam pictures being uploaded. And she knows, okay, this is an extensive roof. He's going to be late. And she'll message Cameron, hey, do I need to push back the next appointment 20 minutes or 30 minutes? And so she takes care of that, so Cameron can do his job on the inspection. And so we're just, again, overly communicating. We are making sure we're respecting people's times. We're doing very extensive inspections so that we can just add those pictures to the proposal and present that if the homeowner's there right then, or we're going to send a Loom video. We've been doing that. We've kind of slacked off on Loom videos, but we've actually increased that quantity again to send a Loom video of a recording of the proposal before we send it in ProLine, so that we hopefully answer any questions that a homeowner has about their proposal.
So let's talk about that real quick. There's sounds like 2 ways that you would present your proposal. You're prepared to do that right on the spot. and offer it to them right there, because you've had your inside salesperson, Kathleen, who's supporting your field's sales, and they're able to see more prospects. They're able to see more people during the day by doing this. And this is what's so great about, and this is why I love these guys, SMA, because they allow you to get an additional inspection during the day.
And not
that's
just
what
an
it's all
additional,
about.
not just additional meetings, but a better experience for those homeowners. Because it's not just about the quantity. Because if you just churn and burn them, you're not showing any liking and trusting.
Right.
You're not providing any value to the homeowner. So it's most important that the quality of the experience is better. That's totally true. It's making us more efficient, but it's also giving that customer a better communicating experience. She's sending all these pictures to homeowners right away. So they're up on the roof, like you said. They're up there. They're getting to see all of these problem areas, the solutions that we're providing, what we suggest to do in these situations. So it's just a much better situation for the homeowner in general. And to answer your questions about the two types of way we present, one is ProLine proposal. We're creating a video, we're walking through that proposal, and we're sending it to the homeowner in text and email. And then we have automated follow-ups. On this particular case, we've done that because one of the spouses was home. She was great. We talked to her a lot, but we knew this is going to be a decision that they make together. The husband and wife are going to make together. So we're setting up a second meeting to meet with both of them in person. We're going to bring real life samples of the real life material we're proposing to install. And so we're just going to do what we can to show value and show why they should trust us in replacing their roof. You've got to do everything you possibly can more than ever to show value, because the husband was in a different state when we did the inspection previously. It wasn't like we could schedule him to come home after 5 o'clock. It was a whole week long deal. So we're being very assertive and proactive with the way we present our proposals.
I love that. And I like to use this as part of the sales process where, your prospect for the most part thinks a roof's a roof. They don't understand the difference. It's like, it's a commodity. Well, it's not a commodity. We know that. And we need to show that prospect that it's not a commodity. And a way that I like to do that is by walking them through Google reviews. Okay. And you look at some of these reviews, the 1 and 2 star reviews, it's always about some kind of communication screw up. Okay. They didn't communicate. They didn't show up when they said they were going to. And to your point, John, what you're talking about, making that proposal, you'll always hear people complain about, they came out, we never saw them again. We don't know if we're getting a proposal. We don't know what's going on. So what am I supposed to call another person? This is the communication. And that's the customer experience that you've got to explain to a prospect of, this is what we're all about. We're all about customer experience, and we can show that through our social proof, through our testimonials, through our reviews. And this is really going to make the difference. And they're like, oh, okay. Here's this person that said it was a terrible experience. It was the worst thing I ever went through, and you see all these reviews like that. You mentioned Loom, and let's just really quickly, because we love Loom for all kinds of purposes. But what I like about Loom, and I want to hear your thoughts, but a lot of times you won't have an opportunity to make a presentation or meet the client. And I know in your area, you have a lot of second homes and so forth. So you may not have that opportunity. And what Loom does is you can do your screen share, and it's recording this, and you're actually, as if you're sitting there at the kitchen table, and you're able to walk through this proposal step by step, showing them, well, here's your problem here. Here's what's going on here, as opposed to you send them an email, and what do? They go straight down to the price. They bypass all this garbage. How do you use it? And is there anything that I'm missing there?
No, I don't think so. I think you got it all covered.
So that's what we like. And I mean, what is it? Loom? I don't know, probably, or whatever.
Yeah, we record a lot of videos, so we pay, I think, $15 a month or something like that.
Likewise.
For the business.
I love it because you can you can explain the story, you know, just as we're doing right now.
Yep.
Just as the great job we're doing right now. Okay, so we've made our presentation, and generally what happens, and this is where I think so many contractors fall down, we basically got three buckets where this deal can go. They can say right on the spot, perhaps, no, I'm sorry, I'm going with these other guys. Thank you. Okay. Or you've got the sale right there, which is why I like being out there. I mean, not a lot of people, I mean, this whole, one-stop close, I don't see it happening very often, but it does. So they're saying, great, I'm ready to go. But for the most part, the vast majority of those people, I got to think about it. I'm waiting for my tax, return, my rebate and all this stuff. Who knows? But there's all kinds of reasons why they're not prepared to deal right now. And this is why the follow-up is critical. Tell us what you do. What's your process for this follow-up, as opposed to how do you, one of the questions I always ask our coaching clients, explain this follow-up to me. What do you guys do? What are you talking about? We send them the quote and then we move on to the next one. What do you do, John? Probably a little different.
So we've definitely taken a more assertive, more active approach, more proactive approach to follow up. And we've always been really good about follow up. I mean, even before ProLine existed, we were really, really good. I've been trained in a lot of things and understand that the statistics don't lie. It is hard to follow up. There's something called phone anxiety, and it's real. And people do not want to call customers to get rejected. I get it, but you got to do it. They have a problem. They want someone to find a solution to that problem. It may be price. It may be the material that you're selecting. They may have a confusion in communicating between two spouses. You can address all those things if you follow up. You cannot address any of those things if you do not follow up. So it doesn't matter the age range that you're selling to your ideal customer. Almost everyone is texting right now. Some people are emailing, but most people are texting. And you need to have very, very consistent cadence for those text messages. And if you think you're texting too much, you're not. They have a problem. They want you to solve that problem. And they may be getting 3 more quotes. I don't care. If you show that homeowner that you want to do business with them and you say, hey, when are you looking to make a decision? Well, next Friday. Great. So you set your ProLine automation to go on Thursday and you send them another text message and email, but you also call them the same day. You're respecting their time, their decision-making window of opportunity. And then you're showing again, if they don't respond on Thursday, do it again on Friday. Don't ever give up until they tell you that they've chosen somebody else. We get those text messages all the time. Hey, on Sunday, we lost a $20,000 job on Sunday. He respected us. He's not cussing us out. No automation went out on Sunday. No one called him on Sunday, but he saw that we were very interested in the job and he was respectful and sent us a text message saying, hey, he went with somebody else. That's totally fine. If you can't handle that, then you need to get out of the business, because it is part of what we do is we offer a service. We get told yes, we get told no. And it doesn't really matter the reason. It may not have been a good fit. This particular job was not a great fit, but you need to be willing to be told no. That's just in the story. Use ProLine, use automations. Really important that the automations come from your phone number, because they don't want to get a phone number. They don't want to get an automation from another random phone number. They want to get it from your number. You've been calling them, you've been texting them, which whoever is the salesperson assigned to that homeowner needs to be sending it from that number, not another number. And after 7 times, we have inside sales. We have Kathleen then start the process manually where she's following up. And so it is another number, but they've already interacted with it one time at least. So we're trying to tag team with inside sales, outside sales, but the follow-up, you can never follow. I mean, we have sold jobs months and months and months later. And you'll just, I mean, we have a half a dozen right now in Savannah and half a dozen right now in Athens, and then 100 and plus more in our long-term follow-up. But we have about 12 to 15 that people are opening our emails and they have not replaced their roof, but we still send them emails and text messages. So we know we still have a shot at replacing the roof. And it's been 3, 6, 9, 12 months. They know they have a problem. We're just waiting for the right time. We're never going to let up until they tell us to go away or to unsubscribe to our automations.
Yeah, I mean, the sales cycle on a job can be a long time. I mean, it can be a year, it could be 2 years.
Yep.
But the problem is, how many times we've all done this on various services. It's like, God, I really like those guys that came out last year, and now I've got the money, or now I've got the need. I want to get this done, but the hell with those guys' names? I don't even remember because there's no follow-up. And this is why it's so important. And having it automated, as you say, is the way to handle it. Again, we're talking about process. We're talking about tweaking this process and getting better at having our automations take care of so much of this. And what you mentioned about, getting that rejection, you're right about that. None of us like that. However, if you look at it this way, 2 out of 3 people are going to say no. Okay. And, let's say we sell 1 out of 3. Well, 2 of them are going to say no. Well, if we're not following up, we're not going to know that. We want to get to know, is because we want to have that information. If they've already done the job or whatever, okay, great. Hey, thanks for the opportunity. We're moving on now. But if they haven't responded, whatever, we're going to just keep on. You never know. And without doing that, I mean, we've got a deal. I mean, look at it this way. We've already spent the money to get the lead somehow. We've spent the money to go out there and make the presentation, Kathleen's time, salesman's time. We've got a lot of money invested in that deal. Well, if we can just have a better chance, even a 1 in 10, 2 in 10 chance to close, improve that close, that's huge. And it doesn't cost you anything. This is what's so crazy. I don't understand this, lack of follow-up, but whatever. Okay. So now let's say we've got that 1 out of 3 people that have said, cool, let's do it. I love it. What happens then? Now you got a sale. What happens?
Again, Kathleen does so much for us. So she has already developed that inside sales relationship with people. She is doing inside project management. So she's checking the weather, contacting the homeowner again. Congratulations, we're ready to move forward. Subcontractor crews, ordering material, and she's organizing all the logistics that are associated with that. She's moving jobs to and from, depending on weather conditions. She's keeping the homeowner up to date. She's keeping all those people up to date to make sure we're all on track. And we're making sure that everything's accurately done as far as the material that's going to be there on job site. Now, outside salesperson is ultimately responsible, and they do check it. But inside sales, like Kathleen, she is helping do the majority of the heavy lifting so that we don't have to, go back and forth. And now there's always unforeseen things. Like we've had a couple jobs where we thought it was 4 sheets of decking and pull up a different section and there's 2 layers of shingles that we couldn't see. And, 12 sheets later, we're replacing all that decking the right way. But in the end, is way more efficient than just doing it without checking that and having those checks and balances between the inside and the outside sales. We're not missing huge amounts of material that we need. So that's what happens. We do the job, the job's done. We do a bunch of company cam pictures throughout the process. We're sending those pictures to the homeowner during the build, not after the build. A lot of our guys have pushed back and say, I just want to send it out there. No. We're going to bring the customer on the roof while we're doing things, especially as it relates to change orders. We're not going to just at the end of the job say, hey, we had 12 sheets. Here's the pictures. No. It needs to be 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, here's the holes. Here's the rotten decking. We're replacing that. And they respond. They're in writing to that. Totally understand. It's $85 a sheet, $110 a sheet for CDX for us for right now. It changes for market, just like buying a lobster. And we let them know up front, hey, this is what it's going to be. 12 sheets, you already know. Price per sheet is this. We have it confirmed so that it's 10:30 in the morning. We have the material installed. We're not waiting for anything. And the customer's not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon being like, wait, what? It's another $1,200? Like whatever the number is, you just don't want to have that conversation. They want to know as soon as possible. And you get to bring that customer on the roof. You're showing them you're installing drip edge. You're showing them you're installing ice and water shield and plastic cap nails and synthetic underlayment. All the things that you said you're going to do, you're doing and you're showing them. Really, really important to give them to that, that we're protecting all the landscaping, all those things we're showing them, not just telling them, so that whenever it gets to the end of the job, everything's beautiful. They don't care. It's a new roof. It looks beautiful, but they know they have a good feeling about that and a good feeling about your crew and you and the salesperson.
Trust. The
trust has been built and you've proven it. You've shown exactly what you said you were going to do. And there's no questioning. It just avoids a lot of headaches, a lot of questions at the end of the job. You get paid faster because you showed a lot of effort and a lot of value, and they write 5-star reviews way more frequently.
Right.
So you send out automations for that. You're sending out 5 automations for 5-star review. You're putting out yard signs, door hangers, postcards. All those things are happening throughout that entire process.
Let me drop back on a couple of things you said, which was, what Kathleen does is ordering the material, contacting the customer and so forth. All the things that we're not very good at. And we just do a lousy job of.
And very, very time consuming. Like the last job we did is like, oh no, this branch doesn't have these 3 bundles of these hip and ridge. Like, oh, okay. So now she has to go find from other suppliers. Like it's enormous amount of time suck. And if you miss one of those phone calls or the email, then the material's not there. And then you got to go drive an hour to go get that crap. So yeah, it's a very valuable role that Kathleen plays.
So just wrapping up now, we're getting into our second leg, which is the production end, getting the job done and so forth, the handoff from sales to production. And this is where a lot of the screw ups come. And you've got your salespeople set up the same way that I ran it in my business. And we did large commercial projects and so forth. But I think how you've got it set up is, we call it taking the job from cradle to grave. And what that means is that the salesman is responsible. This is how I explain it. You guys are responsible for everything on that job. However, you've got the resources available to you to use those people, whether it's Kathleen in inside sales, Tisha on the bookkeeping and getting out that information. All of these things. We had a superintendent that was taking care of production. So it can all be taken care of for you. However, you're ultimately responsible. And I explain it as, this is just like your own individual business. Okay. You've got people available to you. You've got the process already set up, but you are ultimately responsible. So if there's a problem with this customer, you're going to be the guy that's out there taking care of it and making sure that it's done, making sure that at the end of the day, you've gone through whatever's involved with your finalizing, and all the way to getting that 5-star review. And that's what's so important. Not only, as you say, the sales guy is going to handle it, but also you've got automations, you've got Kathleen. You're really working that. You've got a process for getting that 5-star review. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got that. One question I've got is, do you take deposits on your jobs?
We do.
Okay, so how does that happen? Because something that we got to think about is getting paid, okay? And we don't want to miss that step. And that's critical in getting paid quickly. I know you've got a great process, and you have Tisha, which is another outsourced bookkeeper that we use, and she's great. How does this billing set, because you're already setting this up in advance?
We have a race to invoice. So
love it.
Whoever gets there first wins. That's the goal. Whoever invoices the customer first, depending on when so the contract gets signed, and then a task gets created automatically to invoice the customer in Proline. Proline does all billing. We run all of our billing through Proline. They can do credit cards, all the payments that you want to do. And so we're racing. It's going to be Kathleen. It's going to be Clay or Cameron. Whoever the outside salesperson is going to be racing because they're all going to get the notification that the contract got signed. So we're going to send that bill, the deposit invoice, with 3 clicks to the homeowner right away. So they're going to pay. They can pay online. If they want to pay with the check, fine. We're going to meet them before we even schedule the job. And we want people to, not lose their checkbook or have the money deposited in the right account, or like wait till tomorrow to deposit this because it's not transferred over. No, okay, fine. That's totally fine. We're going to make sure that process is started. If you're going to use financing with us, that's totally fine. Click the button. We request the deposit. You click it. We get the money. We're starting that mentality of the actual like mechanics of paying us before we even start doing any actual real work. Because our accounts receivable has dropped down to basically 0 since we started doing that. We do 50% deposits, and we were doing none, and then we did 20, and then 30, and then 40. And Tisha was just like, you just need to do 50%. And once we've moved to 50% deposit, we just don't have a problem getting money from customers anymore. They are already used to paying us large sums of money. There's no like, oh, how do I do this? My wife has it. My husband. No. We've done the job. It's been a day. If you went to Home Depot, you had to pay for it that day, right then. And so it's not unreasonable for us to ask for money right when we're completed with the job. Sometimes other companies invoice as the job has been started. They're like invoicing as the material gets dropped. That's another way to do it. And then after lunch, they send the final invoice before the job's even done, because they're like, hey, we're letting you know the job's almost done. We got a few more hours. We'll clean up. Here's the invoice. There's no surprises here. We've all agreed that the job's going well. The old roof's torn off. The new roof's almost completed. I hear that over and over again because roofing contractors are having difficulty all over the country getting paid when they do the job. Yep. So we have to be very proactive in our invoicing process, and Proline makes it really easy because it's just all if they sign a $20,000 contract, all the templates are already made. So you click billing, you click the drop down box, and it says deposit, and $10,000 already there. It's already laid out perfectly. $20,000 deposit, 10,000 remaining 10,000. Boom, pay here. When you finish the job, it's called the balance. And so you can add, if you had change orders, you can add line items on there, rotten decking, multiple layers of shingles, whatever the case may be. Paid 10,000, remaining balance $11,500. Here you go. Boom. And here's the reasons why it's a change order. It just makes it really easy. It's all seamless. Everyone knows it's not just the accounting person or the back-end person sees the QuickBooks, but it's actually the whole team gets to see when the job was paid. It's great for transparency, great for the team morale. So we're not wondering which jobs have been paid or not. It's really, really nice.
As opposed to contractors that are, oh yeah, we got to get these bills out. I can't, forgot about that, whatever. And then they just send it out and that's it. They wait and they don't ask for the money. You can ask for the money because there are people that are saying, I'll just stick it over here, wait till they call me.
Yep.
I'm going to hold on to my money as long as I can. So
Yep.
That wraps up our second leg of the stool. And we've covered part of our scorekeeping because that's part of the scorekeeping that comes around. But now we're on that third leg, finalizing this out. Job costing. Do you cost the job? Do you know what's going on?
So the job has already been job costed before the job even started. We do a pre-job budget. And then after the job's been completed, we check any returns, any labor changes. If there was change orders, we change that. And so in Proline directly, you have all of that. So your reporting is accurate. So you know what your net margin was, you know what your gross profit was. You can change whichever KPIs you want to track, but all of it's accurate because the billing is connected to the reporting, and we don't have to import data from QuickBooks or anything. It's all there. So it's really, this year's been nice because we're all in on Proline all the way. So we don't have syncing different. We still use QuickBooks for general reporting and a lot of the big stuff for accounting and for doing taxes and things like that. But within Proline, all the numbers are accurate because we reconcile everything for every single job every single time.
the way that we did it, as I said, we're working with bigger jobs, and the difference also is we didn't use subcontractors. We had all in-house people. So you are truly estimating the labor. So when we talk about making an estimate, we are making an estimate because it's a skill, how long is this job going to take? And we have to know that. And we track that as we go. So some of the jobs, maybe a week, maybe 6 weeks. And we're tracking that time as it goes, because if we've used 80% of our labor and we're only 50% of the job complete, we got a problem. We need to know about that early so we can make adjustments. We know where we are at all times. When we get to the end of the job, we always job cost the job, because as you say, there's returns, or maybe, the material, we had to make a change, whatever it is. But we're looking at, here's our estimate, here's what actually happened, and here's the variance. And that's what we're tracking, is the variance. And that's what I want to know. We would always do what we call a post-mortem on every job. And we would look at that, and we would improve our estimating. We would improve getting that tighter and tighter. I had one sales guy, I talk about, his materials were constantly 10% off. I'm like, you can't measure the roof? I mean, what's going on? And that was some pretty big money on a $500,000 job or whatever. So, this is why you have to know what's going on. And if you don't track that as you're going along, and you're going to be one of those contractors that say, yeah, it's going to be what it is, what it's going to be. Well, yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be if you don't do something to correct that along the way. So that's great. Tisha does all that. And Tisha also, we're talking about our scorekeeping. She does the books. And I work with too many contractors that, where's your financial statements? Well, they're all screwed up. The chart of accounts is a mess. So you've got to have that really straightened out. So the first thing we do, and I work with Tisha, and this is what I call the roofer CFO. I do fractional CFO service, where we come in and we look at that and make sure that the books are set up correctly at the beginning, that your QuickBooks are dialed in. So we have our costs in the right spot. If we don't have our direct costs, what it truly costs us to do that job, and we're marking those costs up, we're going to be losing money on every job. And we don't know it. So this is where what's so important to have this set up correctly to begin with. Then each month, I want to see a financial statement every month. And what we do is we have a sit down with myself, Tisha, and the contractor, and we review this. It takes about an hour, once we get going. But this is where I show you the important numbers, your KPIs, your key performance indicators, the ratios that you're looking at. Are we on budget? Are we, we have a budget we're trying to hit, and here we are 6 months into the year. Are you on budget, or are we behind? Well, we've got to make that up then somehow. And you don't know that unless you have a review. Also, there's a lot of interpretation. We may have a crappy month. Well, why? We've got to determine that. And that comes from the financial review once a month. And that, I think, is a wrap. Am I missing anything, John? We covered the three-legged stool. Sell work, do work, keep score, make a lot of money.
That's right. We got it, Dave. We figured out all the problems in the world.
Man, this business is so simple. There's nothing to it. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. And I think, John, you got to go out and sell some roofs, man. Go out and whatever, create interest, those leads. We got to do everything. We've got to get those job signs. We got to have our trucks wrapped. We're building our brand and getting our name out there, because it's, as you say, it's harder and harder to get leads, and we got to work for it. We got to bear down, guerrilla marketing, make it happen. We can't just spend a bunch of money to buy a bunch of crappy leads. We've got to go out there and make it happen. So, yep. John, hey, appreciate it all as always. Great work. And we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.